BATL is a hybrid card and board game where cards act as the board. Players move on a field, playing cards from their decks to attack and debilitate their opponents or heal and support themselves or their team. The goal of BATL is to reduce your opponent's HP to 0, find and hold the 3 pieces of the triune, or outlast your opponent when they run out of cards to draw. A player's deck consists of 60 cards, which can be made up of 4 types: Basic, Combo, Equipment, and Resource. Basic cards may require a resource, but otherwise can be played at any time on your turn. Combo cards require a card of the same class to be played first, and they may also have a resource cost. For equipment, each character has a weapon and an armor slot that can be taken up by their respective equipment. Some equipment may take both slots. On their turn, a player may play one equipment card, but may unequip freely, returning the equipment to their hand. Resource cards give a player a resource of the designated class. Resource is required to use a character's class ability or to play cards that have a resource cost. Basic and combo cards may also have the tags Now, Permanent, or Hidden. Now cards can be played at any time, including when it is not the player's turn, and resolve immediately. Permanent cards stay in play and do not resolve until otherwise removed. Hidden cards are placed face down, while all opposing players close their eyes, taking the position of a land card on the board. The land card that is replaced is not revealed and placed to the side. If a hidden card moves onto a square that's been revealed, or if the triggering effect occurs, the card becomes revealed, and hidden ends. Among these types, a deck will have 12 resource, 12 combo, 6 equipment, and 30 basic cards. A deck can be customized to include any number of each card, but may not have more or less than 6 unique equipment. A deck can be composed of cards from any class, and each class has a different class ability, resource pool, and set of cards associated with it. Class abilities are as follows. Brutes have the Rage ability. They may spend 1 mad to gain +1 attack until the end of their turn. The Monk has the Flow ability. They may spend 2 ki to fully dodge the next attack against them. This lasts until the start of their next turn. The Priest has the Bless ability. They may spend 3 spirit to augment the numeric value on any card in play by + or -1 until the start of the user's next turn. With the Scout, it's the Burst ability. They may spend 4 focus to receive an extra action until the end of their turn. The Thief ability is Trick. They may spend up to 5 Guile to deplete an adjacent target of the same number of chosen resource. And finally, the Mage's class ability is Cycle. They may spend up to 6 mana to discard that many cards from their hand and then draw the same amount of cards. After deciding who will go first, for example in a dice roll, the starting player determines whether they will play first or draw first. The player who plays first will draw 1 card, but gets to take their turn first. The other player will go second, but draws 2 cards. Players then draw a hand of 6 cards. If a player doesn't like the initial hand drawn, they may sacrifice 1 draw from their initial turn to draw a new hand of 6 cards. This can continue until the player has no draws left on their initial turn and play can begin. On their turn, a player draws 2 cards before beginning play, unless it's the first turn and the player has chosen to play first. Then, in any order, they can take 2 actions, use their class ability once, equip an equipment from their hand, unequip an equipment from the field, and play any cards available. Note that even when having access to multiple class abilities, you may still only use class abilities a total of once on your turn. A player can hold up to 8 cards in their hand. At the end of a player's turn, if they hold more than 8 cards in hand, they must discard down to 8 cards. Treasure cards contribute to the hand limit and can be played and discarded the same as basic cards, with no cost and no class resource gained unless specified by the card. Treasure is only removed from the battlefield once its effect resolves. A player may freely discard treasures from their hand on their turn. The order of a turn is as follows: Resolution, Draw, Play and Actions, Resolution, Discard, and End. Each turn, a player has 2 actions that they may use. Actions are designated as follows. A move action. Move your character up to their movement speed in any direction. An attack action. Make an attack utilizing your current attack stat on an enemy within your range. A search action. Turn any adjacent battlefield card face up. You cannot search an occupied square. A take action. Pick up an adjacent treasure card on the battlefield and add it to your hand. If a treasure card is picked up in this way, replace the empty space on the battlefield with a face-up dirt card. Empty land cards cannot be taken, and you cannot take from an occupied square. A give action. Place a treasure card from the user's hand into an adjacent target's hand. This only applies to treasure cards. 2 actions can be used in a turn unless specified by a card or class ability. Examples are the haste card and the burst ability, which allow for extra actions to be taken. Any extra action follows the same rules as a normal action. A class card is any card with a class symbol on it. When playing class cards, players receive 1 resource of the designated class on the card, unless the card has a resource cost. Resource cards count as class cards, giving +1 resource of the class and also have the effect of giving +1 resource for a combined total of +2. Because they are class cards, they can also be used to trigger combo cards of the same class. All cards must resolve naturally and cannot be ended by the player's choice. When a card is played, it resolves once the effect is finished or is designated by the card. A card with the same name cannot be played until the initial card has resolved. Cards that have the same effect and different names can be stacked together. This is loosely referred to as the same name rule. Hit points, or HP, start at 20. They are reduced from damage. When they hit 0, the player is removed from the game. Resource is used to play cards and use class abilities. Resource cannot be reduced below 0. Attack. The default attack stat is 1. This is the damage dealt using the attack action. Attack cannot be reduced below 0. When taking an attack action, subtract the target's current defense stat from the attacker's attack stat. The leftover attack then becomes damage, which is subtracted from the target's hit points. Defense. The default defense is 0. Defense is subtracted from attack when being attacked. Defense cannot be reduced below 0. Damage is the result of attack minus defense, or if a card specifies dealing damage, this is dealt directly to HP without subtracting defense. Movement speed has a default stat of 1. This is the amount of field squares a character can move in one movement action. Movement speed cannot be reduced below 0. And finally, range, with a default of 1. This is the range at which a character can make an attack action. Range cannot be reduced below 0. The playing field is made up of land and treasure cards played face down. A standard 1 versus 1 match has a field of 36 cards, 6 by 6 in a grid shape. These cards can be treasure or empty land. Shuffle the land deck and deal out the map face down. Use a tracker to track players' hit points starting at 20. Players can have no more than 20 HP, excluding temporary HP given through cards. After choosing their decks, each player should shuffle. Players place their character cards in opposite corners of the map on top of the land card. Players should leave room for playing equipment, a discard pile, cards that will remain in play, a health tracker, and the resource tracker. The players begin by drawing 6 cards. In this case, the scout player will move first, so they will draw 1 card on their turn. All draws from here on out will be 2 cards. The scout player begins his turn by using one of his actions to search. He flips the square to reveal a piece of the triune. There are 3 pieces of the triune hidden throughout the board, and if all 3 pieces are held together in one hand, then that player immediately wins the game. The scout player then picks up the triune card and puts it in their hand, replacing the now empty square with a dirt card. He then equips a sling and ends his turn. The brute player begins by drawing his 2 cards. He then uses his 2 actions to move 1 square each, as his movement speed is 1. He then plays a mad card, gaining 2 resource total, 1 for the class being brute and 1 for the effect of the card being +1 mad. In this case, the brute pool maxes out at 1, so he would only gain 1 resource from this card. The brute player then ends his turn. The scout player uses 1 action to move up 1 square. He then plays a hit card. This being a class card, he gains 1 resource from it. It also has the effect of giving him +1 attack till the end of his turn. Scout then plays a resource card. The scout's resource is focus. He gains +1 for it being a class card and +1 for the effect of the card, giving him 2 resource. He then uses the resource to play a bear card. The bear occupies the board and has stats just like a player. As the scout used to focus to play this card, he will gain no resource from the card. He uses bear's 1 action and 2 attack stat to deal 2 damage to the brute player. Then he uses his 1 action to attack the brute player. With his increased range of +1 and his increased attack of +1, he deals a total of 2 damage. The Scout then resolves all his cards. The Bear will not be resolved until its HP has been depleted. The Brute starts his turn by playing a Trauma card. Trauma costs 1 resource, so no resource will be gained from it. It has the effect of dealing 2 damage to a target and 2 damage to the user. Note that this is damage and cannot be reduced by normal defense. This is enough damage to kill the Bear, and so the Bear is resolved. The Brute continues by playing a hit card. This has the effect of giving him +1 attack until the end of his turn. It being a class card also gives him 1 resource. The Brute then uses the mad he gained from the card to activate his class ability of Rage. Rage has the effect of giving +1 attack to the user until the end of their turn. Class abilities can be used a total of once on a turn. The Brute then plays a Wallop card. Wallop is a combo card. Having played a hit and a mad card earlier, the Brute has satisfied the condition of the combo card. Wallop will give him +1 attack till the end of his turn and 1 resource. Note that while both Wallop and Hit both have the same effect, they have different names. This allows them to be played on the same turn. The Brute then plays Leap. Leap is a 1-cost card, so no resource will be gained from it. Leap allows the user to move and attack as a single action, in the order which they choose. The Brute leaps forward 1 square and is also able to attack with this action. The base attack stat is 1, plus a hit, plus a Wallop, and plus a Rage, bringing the total to 4. This deals 4 damage to the Scout player. He then uses a second action to deal an attack, dealing another 4 damage. The Brute player then ends his turn, resolving all his cards, as well as his class ability. Having taken a large hit, the Scout player decides to use a heal card. This is a Scout card, which gives him +1 to his focus. As well, the effect of the card can heal a target for 2 HP. He plays another hit for +1 to his attack and +1 to his focus, and then plays a Sprint card. This is a class card giving him +1 focus and has the effect of giving +1 move speed till the end of his turn. Following this, he equips Boots. Boots are an equipment card that take up the armor slot and give +1 to move speed. The Scout spends 4 focus to use his class ability, Burst. This gives him 1 extra action till the end of his turn. Scout now has a total of 3 actions. He uses 2 actions to deal damage to the Brute player. With his 1 base attack plus 1 from hit, he deals 2 damage with each action, for a total of 4. Then uses his final action to move. His base move speed of 1, plus 1 from his boots, and plus 1 from his sprint gives him a total of 3 movement speed. He may move up to 3 squares with 1 action. After finishing his move, he plays a focus card, giving him +2 to his focus. He then immediately spends it on an Owl card. Similar to the Bear, the Owl has actions and stats, just like a player. The Scout player uses the 2 actions of the Owl to deal 2 attacks. Each attack does 1 damage for a total of 2. The Brute player begins his turn by using 1 action to kill the Owl. The Brute has 1 attack, and the Owl has 1 HP. Then, with a second action, advances on the Scout player. He plays a Mad card to gain resource, then uses that resource to play a Grab card. Grab is played on any adjacent target, and that target suffers -1 move speed until the start of the user's next turn. The Brute follows up by playing 2 Endurance cards. Endurance heals the user for 2 HP and cannot be used on any other target. And because the Brute's resource pool is maxed, he does not gain resource from the second Endurance card. On his turn, the Scout retaliates by playing a Focus card and then playing a Net. Playing the Focus card fulfills the combo requirement for the Net. Net is used on an adjacent target, giving them -1 move speed till the start of the user's next turn. The Scout currently has Boots equipped, giving him +1 to his move speed, but also has the Grab card played on him, giving him -1. The total for his move speed is now 1. He decides to use both his actions to move, getting as far away as possible from the Brute player, and replacing his sling equipment with a sword. Sword goes in the weapon slot and gives +1 to attacks. At the start of the Brute's turn, the Grab card resolves and is removed from the board. The Brute player spends his Mad to use his class ability Rage, and a Sprint card to give him +1 movement speed and +1 to his Mad. This negates the movement speed decrease from the Net, and allows him to use an action to move up. He then equips a Greatsword. The Greatsword is both a weapon and an armor, and takes up both slots. It also has the effect of giving +2 to his attack. With his base attack of 1, +1 from his Rage, and +2 from his Greatsword, he deals 4 damage to the Scout. At the end of his turn, both Rage and Sprint are resolved. At the start of the Scout's turn, Net is resolved. Scout plays a hit to give him +1 attack and +1 resource, and then uses his 4 focus to activate his class ability of Burst. This gives him an extra action, and he uses 3 actions to deal 3 attacks. Each attack has a base of 1 plus 1 from the sword and 1 from the hit. 3 attacks for 3 damage each for a total of 9. The scout then resolves all his cards. The brute player begins his turn by activating his rage ability. He then plays a block card, giving him +1 to his mad and +1 to his defense till the end of his turn. He spends the mad to play another trauma, dealing 2 damage to him and 2 damage to the scout. With his base attack of 1, +1 from the rage, and +2 from the greatsword, the brute is able to use his 2 actions to deal 2 attacks. Each attack does 4 damage for a total of 8, killing the scout player. We at BATL would like to thank you for watching this video and taking an interest in how to play our game. As the game evolves and new cards are added, we're excited to see where players take this game. There will be more videos forthcoming on various cards and tags on the cards, but if there is anything you feel you need clarity on or something that you feel was not explained well enough, please reach out and let us know. Thank you so much and enjoy BATL.